Welcome to this episode of Leaders in Next. We've got an awesome show coming up, kind of a special episode. We're wrapping up our first full season, and wow, what a season it's been. We've done more than 20 episodes. So thankful for the opportunity to meet so many awesome players. We've got the first ever Leaders in Next season recap award show. So we've piled through all the data, all the episodes, and we are now ready to release the prestigious inaugural Leaders in Next season recap awards. It could be contentious. We have a lot of qualified, even overqualified individuals, but somebody's got to win. Before we do that, though, man, a lot has happened. We recorded at the end of December a couple season preview recaps, and we knew the portal wasn't closed. Our bowl game hadn't happened yet. We did one defensive episode, one offensive episode. We actually just put out some stuff on the defensive one, and even though it was maybe almost a month of a delay, a lot of stuff ended up matching what we thought was going to happen in the recap. So we wanted just to start this episode with, what's happened, particularly on the defensive side since we recorded that episode. Mostly good stuff, and if you go back and kind of listen to our recap, we were obviously super bullish on the defense. We went through, reviewed a lot of position groups, but a couple themes, one on the defensive tackle, just in terms of depth, and a couple decisions, and then one in the backfield and cornerback. Dad, you said we needed to take another depth piece at tackle in the portal, and we did. You asked, they listened.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on a very strong redshirt freshman year that you had. I mean,
Oh, me
Dan,
personally. Me personally.
Yeah, you
Okay.
personally. I mean, a solid performance as a 3-star. Originally low 3-star, with not a lot of highlights on huddle. I mean, you've really broken through, which is super impressive. But yeah, I mean, we're recording this almost a month after we recorded that defensive episode, and yeah, to your point, during that episode, you said, "Hey, at the very end, you said we ought to get another cornerback, maybe." And we did. We got Anderson from Louisiana. At the time, in the interior defensive line, we were wondering, what's Benny doing? What's Grant doing? We figured Grant was going to the NFL, and now he's officially declared he's going. Benny has recently said he's staying in the last couple of days, which is awesome. And at the time, we had Payne transferred in, but we didn't. Subsequent to that, and I said, hey, I think one more defensive tackle, because those guys, like in an average season, let's say there's 700 snaps on defense maybe last year, roughly, maybe more. I mean, our guys are playing like 350, 400, they rotate in a lot. So we got this guy, Trey Williams from Clemson. So yeah, a lot of great progress on defense. So, and that episode's getting a lot of views. So if you haven't seen it, then you're listening to this, go take a look at it. We're excited about it.
Yeah, and you could find, you might probably know this by now because you found this episode, but they're all on Spotify. And then if you're ever perusing our Instagram, we'll post and, we'll link the episodes right there. So, yeah, there has been a lot of good chatter, a lot of good back and forth on our roster preview. Obviously, the decision on Moore is still outstanding. I'm not really sure when we'll know fully on Rod Moore, but hopefully soon.
It's funny. I mean, it's funny. They talk about some of these guys just don't feel a need to announce something. They maybe in his own way, but I mean, Coach Moore has intimated he feels pretty positive that Rod Moore is returning. So that would be great news, especially if he's 100% healthy.
And him returning, that's the big thing. I actually have probably wouldn't say concern. It's less of a question to me on if he returns to Michigan, and more so of just, heard the injury was pretty bad. He was in a brace for a long time, so just hoping he comes back healthy. But yeah, you're right. They had already taken Payne. When we recorded the episode, they had already taken Payne. We felt good. Right. We felt maybe one more, because you're right. They run a lot of people on, and I'm not saying we're prophetic. I'm just saying it feels, when you saw the pieces come together, especially after we recorded the roster preview, it was cool to see like a lot of the same logic, like what we saw in the depth chart. Obviously, the coaches knew. The Louisiana transfer is interesting. Obviously, he goes back with Morgan, because
right.
Morgan, Coach Lamar Morgan, our secondaries coach, coached him for 3 years. So they're probably good familiarity there. The biggest question on defense right now, though, Dad, is Wink. So,
Right.
we
And,
got to
it's
wait out the Falcons, wait out the Bengals.
of course, on social media and all these various groups, you'll see people saying, we can't let him leave. Throw a bag at him. Don't let him leave. Well, you know, you can't force people to do things they don't want to do. That doesn't work out in life very well. If the guy wants to go back to the NFL, wish him well, and he's gone. He's already in Michigan. It's not like Michigan's being cheap here. Wink was the highest paid coordinator in college football last year.
In all of football.
The high coordinator. So the NFL can pay more, but we paid him a lot to be at Michigan. And look, he's only been in college 1 year. I get college coaching is a grind. It's 365 days a year. It feels like these guys don't get the summers off. They got to recruit. They got to talk to 18-year-olds. They got to talk to 17-year-olds. They got to talk to 16-year-olds and their family and their agents. It is much different than professional football. And so I don't begrudge the guy. Wish him, if that's what he chooses, wish him well. Look, they've chosen some pretty good coordinators as backfill. That I think the new offensive coordinators is an upgrade. Wink was a good hire. I think we'll be just fine if he leaves.
Yeah,
and we should know. We'll know soon.
And I was texting because I know he's interviewing with multiple teams. I know the Falcons are, I think, one of the main teams that are supposed to, be taking the most intense look. I think the Bengals are in that category, and maybe a third. I will say, I was texting with some of my buddies. Shout out Kevin Hochstein, one of my good friends, Michigan alum. He had a good take, which was like, Wink was always going to be a gap fill of some kind. Like, I think that whether it's 1 year or 2 years, the names that I saw thrown out, one that was interesting, I know people throw out all sorts of names. I'm sure Tony Dungy's in there, and like he has been every year since I've been born.
Get that guy Bill Belichick. Maybe he's unhappy.
Yeah, exactly. I know he likes the college scene. So was Doug Mallory, and obviously Doug Mallory, I think, played here. Has coached here multiple times. I know he's been an assistant here and an analyst, and he's on the Ravens staff. It's like that checks. No idea if that Doug Mallory wants that, but I just like who's the next smart guy from the Ravens and go get him. But yeah, that one's exciting, and we'll see. We've had a little less movement on the offensive side recently, but I think in a future episode we'll do another recap, kind of callback on our offensive episode. So,
well, I think what we'll do is when the April portal window closes after the spring game, and we see kind of if there's any final movement, transfers in, transfers out, all that good stuff, we'll have a lot more clarity on really who the 105 guys are that are going to dress for next year. And I think we can do an episode then and not have things happen right after we record it. Like we did this one, and there's just still movement going on, and so anyway, looking forward to it.
And now we get to go to the next segment of the episode, which is the main event, the season recap award. We've got, oh my gosh, probably 10 awards to give out. And like I said, lots of deserving guests of ours. We are giving these awards out for the most part to all guests who have appeared on our show. And like I said, so many deserving people. But look, somebody's got to win. Let the debate ensue. Before we kick into the awards, because it is the season recap award show, we are kind of recapping the season. We just we completed a bowl game donation match, or contribution match, I should say, to champions. We just did a recap on that. That was really an awesome way for us to kind of put the finishing touch, along with this show, on what was our first season and an amazing season. I mentioned earlier we got to meet more than 20 student athletes, got to meet and partner with some great people at organizations like Champions. I think on behalf of my dad, we're just really happy that we get a chance to not only have a lot of fun doing something that we love, but also contribute in our own way to Michigan and Michigan athletics. So this award show is kind of our way of putting a little bit of a capstone on this season. And then you'll see from us upcoming in February, I mentioned in an earlier clip, we're getting to work on setting up 25 now. So going to be recording some episodes with some new players starting in February. I think you'll be really excited. And then I think working on something for the spring game too. So after this, we move on to 25, and look, no off season for your boys at Leaders and Next. We're going to keep grinding. And with that, the first, and maybe fitting as we make this transition, thanking the people, the thousands of people who have downloaded and listened to this podcast in our first season, we kick off our award show with the listener of the year. Well, really, listener / follower of the year.
Right.
Given to the person who has supported us, not only through their time and their viewership, but also just their contributions to the podcast. Now, for each of these, we've got an honorable mention and a winner. And our honorable mention here is none other than Landon. Landon is the star of the episode Inside the Shoe. He was our award winner who went down to Columbus and helped slay the mighty giant. The rightful national champion himself, Landon. Awesome guy. He's our honorable mention, but we got to give our number one, someone who maybe not as mainstream as Landon. Our Listener of the Year award goes to Andrew, our valiant intern, also listener, also follower. Shout out Andrew, Dad. I know you.
And Andrew Pierce. Andrew listened to every episode, reposted every episode. He was, through his hard work, in addition to Landon winning the contest to get 2 tickets to Ohio State, Andrew, we gave Andrew 2 more tickets to the Ohio State game. So he was there with Landon. Andrew also went to the bowl game. So congratulations, Andrew Pierce. Appreciate your dedication to the podcast. And look forward to having you continue that dedication through 2025.
Andrew sets a high bar. It's hard to do 22 of anything. Andrew did 22 episodes, reposted them. Yeah, he's been effectively part of the family now. Andrew Pierce.
And to be clear, the only thing Andrew got paid was he did get the 2 tickets to the Ohio State game.
Well, there's always next year.
From us. Yeah.
We expect to enter a vigorous round of contract negotiations with Andrew Pierce as well. So that is our first Listener of the Year, Andrew Pierce. Shout out, honorable mention to our boy Landon.
Okay.
What's the next award, Dad?
Next award, Most Entrepreneurial Guest. The winner of that prestigious award is none other than Olivia Olson. Olivia is on the women's basketball team, which is doing really well. She's a McDonald's All-American in high school, 5-star, was the highest rated recruit to commit to Michigan. At the time she committed, I think Silas Swords was slightly higher than her when she committed. True freshman, leading scorer on the team, 16 points per game. So Olivia's doing great as a true freshman. In high school, though, to defray the cost of traveling to various camps and other things that you have to do when you're an elite athlete, she wanted to help her parents. She started a landscaping business called Liv's Lawns. And this wasn't like she just cut 1 yard. I think she had like 12 or 15 clients and was making money, personally cutting the grass, and keeping some of the money and then paying some of the money to her parents. So award winner, Olivia Olson. We do have the honorable mention, which is Eno Etta.
Mm-hmm.
During high school, Eno built computers and sold them to classmates. I have no idea how much money he made doing this, but I'm sitting there thinking, that's kind of cool. Who does that? So he said it was pretty easy, and he did it. Now, Eno is thinking about being a computer science person at the time. Again, he's young, so that major could change. But so honorable mention, winner is Olivia Olson. Honorable mention to Eno Etta.
And this is a hard-fought award because you guys know our Leaders in Next kind of mission was we're highlighting the not only the next great athletes, but the next great alumni of the University of Michigan in all sense of the word. So this is a hard-fought award. So for Olivia to come out on top, that is some gritty stuff. And we did quiz her. We are landscaping aficionados ourselves.
Oh yeah.
She checked all the right boxes.
Yep.
Our next award is the Rising Leader Award, given to the athlete and guest who's not only rose throughout the season, but we think is primed to be the next great leader going into 2025. Almost everybody who is staying for next year, technically, I think, could qualify this award. But like I said, it's somebody's got to win. And in second place, our honorable mention is Greg Crippen. We love Cripp. He fought from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, won the starting job, went back and forth originally, then wins it, then solidifies it, and now he's going to be one of the most important people heading into next year. So we love Crip. We think he is going to be one of the next key rising leaders. He's our honorable mention. Our winner is Zeke Berry.
Go Zeke.
I was obviously went off on some pro Zeke tirades in our roster preview because I love Zeke Berry, and I think that nobody had a grittier season than Zeke and showed like converted potential into performance in such a short amount of time. He started at nickel, excelled. Injuries, had to move to corner, had to play against the number one team in the country, again, Oregon. He shuts down the Stars receivers at both Ohio State and Alabama. There's nobody, I think, more deserving than rising leader. Not only because of the play on the field, but because as we got to know Zeke, that journey couldn't have been easy. Breaking in, and so the season, what wasn't had a couple bumps in the road in the middle. He persevered, and man, I think he is going to be wherever he plays, nickel, outside. He is going to be shut down and is going to be the star on the defense next year. So Zeke, congrats on winning the Rising Leader Award.
Well deserved. I mean, Zeke had the fourth most snaps on defense for the entire season. The fourth most. The guy was a warrior. He was out there a lot, put in positions that, maybe weren't his first natural position, but did well. Had 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. I think Zeke, in terms of off-season performance, we need to work on his yards after catch, yak. Typically a wide receiver thing, but with the 2 interceptions, I don't think he got very far after that. So maybe that's room for improvement. I'm being sarcastic there. But
I thought he did have a big run back. His Fresno State one, he did turn that one upfield, right?
I think his yards after catch for the 2 interceptions. I don't think. I think it's an off-season thing. That's the only thing I could think of to work on because the rest of the stuff was pretty damn good. But we
Zeke,
like
if
Zeke.
You want to talk with us about your yards after catch? You've come to the wrong place. We have no idea how to improve that. So we'll try to help make a referral, but it ain't us.
Yeah, really. But hopefully over time, he could be a Mikey. The Saints are still kind of comparison in terms of leadership and functionality across the back end of the defense. So again, rising leader Zeke. Next category, foxhole guy. We were introduced to this concept by Davis Warren. They say, hey, we got this term. Who's the guy you want in the foxhole when the shit hits the fan kind of thing? Things get rough. And that can be it doesn't always have to be the biggest, meanest, strongest guy, but somebody that you can depend on, something, and I tell you what, the guest that we have that I think truly embodies that is, we have an honorable mention. We're going to go honorable mention first before I get to the winner. Honorable mention is Josh Preeb. Preeb transfer came in, had the whole cut lip episode with us where he describes that cut lip. It's really an interesting picture. People got to go look at it if they haven't seen it already. Great guy, a warrior. He's pursuing his dream now in the NFL. He gave us the year that he had left, and it was awesome. The winner, who is luckily returning, is Max Bredesen. Now, I can't imagine anybody better myself to have this guy. First of all, he's got a great story. Max, I don't know if people listen to the episode, they know this, but Max only played 6 football games in his entire high school career. 6. You can fact check that, but I'm right. And part of it's COVID and how Wisconsin, where he lived, handled that, injuries. And then he walks on as a quarterback. And then they say, sorry, Max, you're not really a quarterback. You're going to be a tight end or an H-back. Then he gets a scholarship. Then he gets named a captain. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is like the greatest story, I think, that you can have, I think, in college football. And this guy, when you listen to his episode, he loves Ann Arbor. It's like I would die for Ann Arbor. This guy is a Michigan man through and through. So he's the foxhole guy. In addition, I have to give him credit. He's got the hockey player haircut going. So he's really stepped up his hair game since high school. But shout out to Max. Glad he's coming back.
If the Ohio State legislator does pass this law that makes it a felony to plant flags into the turf at Ohio Stadium. Max is still okay because he seems to enjoy planting Ohio State football players into the turf at Ohio Stadium, which, as far as I know, is not on the bill. So I think
there was one was one in Alabama in the bowl game. He planted some guy, and the guy then hits him right, and we get a 15. We get a pretty good penalty on Alabama. I believe that was in the bowl. But there's a couple things online where you see him. He's right on top of Sawyer. Planted that guy. Yeah. He planted Caleb Downs in last year's Rose Bowl, and Caleb wanted more.
And I feel for these guys, and all I would say is, if you feel like you've been aggrieved by Max or planted into the field, contact your state legislature. They might try to get something passed. It's all I can do. I think that's your best option. So
glad he's back.
Max, Foxhole guy. I wouldn't mind. It would be interesting to see if he maybe goes back to number 82, throwing it back. I thought that was a good look on him. I think it gave him a little extra zip in his step. So
I like Max as the H back. Just when you're when you're watching the Michigan game,
just different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think more of a fullback number with the 44. But anyway,
right. Now this actually could be the most fun award. This next one, which is the favorite guest of a guest. Who came on that we actually didn't think was going to come on. This is probably one of the best awards. So the honorable mention is actually an unnamed. I mentioned not everyone in this awards is a known follower, listener, or guest, including the honorable mention for the guest of a guest award, which is whoever was calling Fred Moore during our episode. Now, the listener, you were maybe spared from this because we did some really nice editing work, but Fred Moore, now even probably more popular after scoring against Alabama, got not one, not two, not three, but 4 phone calls through his computer during the podcast episode. We love Fred. Fred, we're just kind of busting your chops. Whoever that person is, it was great having you on the show. Sorry we couldn't get you to Fred right away, but thank you for your participation. Now the winner, and maybe honestly the star of the season, maybe the star of the whole thing, Jordan Marshall's mom. The best. Jordan invited her onto an episode. She dished a little bit on it. She was in Ann Arbor. I think it was during the bye week, so she was enjoying all the scenes and the sights, and she was a pleasure to talk to. So she dished on it. Sounds like Jordan had been coaching her up, Dad. Sounds like she was helping him study some defenses, learn some tape. So maybe someone we get back on the pod, honestly. If we get a new defensive coordinator, I'd love to know her take on the new schemes we're running. What do you think?
Well, it was funny. I mean, because we didn't know she was there, right? So we're doing the Google Meets thing with him, remotely. And he's talking, he's singing her praises, and we're talking about how important she is. Clearly, she's important. She goes, "Yeah, well, she's right here," and he waves her over, and she comes onto the screen, and
she was ready.
It was great.
She was ready. She was camera ready. She was ready to go. So
I think one question we need to ask Jordan is, I mean, he obviously loves his mom, and she's very important. Is he going to allow her to drive the new Porsche that he got as part of his NIL deal?
What did he get? Did he get the Macan or is it
the Macan?
Macan, is that how you say it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
a nice one.
Yeah, my guess is they didn't offer up the 911, or the current version of the 911 Turbo S, but I just picture things have obviously changed since you and I went to school there. Well, they certainly changed since I went there. As a true freshman, my guess is he's not in the dorm and worrying about where to park that damn thing. So I hope he has covered parking at least. But he's going to have a lot of fun with that Porsche. So congratulate MVP of the bowl game, breakout. Everyone suspected this guy was waiting his turn behind Donovan and Khalil. I mean, Mr. Ohio football, one of only 2 in the history of that award to go to Michigan, himself and Woodson. And so super Mr. Ohio football. He's gonna be a star in the running back room, as evidenced by the bowl game.
And if I could I know this award's about his mom, but I'm sure Jordan Marshall's mom would be the first to say, use a little bit of time to shout out my son. When I saw number 23, by the way, maybe the hardest 100 yards ever gained by and it wasn't. I think it was maybe 20 something carries, maybe 23 carries, something so it wasn't
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me of the old Chris Perry days where they used to run that poor guy like 35, 4. I think Chris Perry also wore number 23. I think had 52 carries in a game against Michigan State. So now I know times have changed. We don't beat running backs up like that anymore. And Jordan, don't worry. But reminded me of one of the all-time greats, Stoke Walker Award-winning Chris Perry, putting in an absolute bruising 100 yards. Shout out, Jordan.
Yeah. Good stiff arm, too. So, all right. Our next award, most inspiring guest. Honorable mention is Peyton O'Leary. Peyton starts off as a walk-on, lightly recruited. Some of this COVID, when they're going to high school, COVID kind of screwed up the recruiting of some of these guys. Originally was going to play lacrosse, committed to play lacrosse, decommits, comes to Michigan as a walk-on, earns a scholarship, and then, as everyone saw at the end of the year, was in there a lot, had some crucial catches at big times, especially that third down against Ohio State. So honorable mention for most inspiring story to kind of persevere and go from walk-on scout team to scholarship to starter. Congratulations, Peyton O'Leary. I do love how his parents came up with the names of all the brothers, but you'll have to listen to the episode to get the details on that. But all the kids are.
Shout out Shane. Shout out Shane Matthews. For those, if you know, you know.
Yeah. So, but the winner of this award is Davis Warren. And again, his story is well chronicled. So, has a cancer in high school. And then in addition, then COVID happens, and both of these things impact his recruiting. He walks on to Michigan, and just like we talked about with Peyton, and by the way, they are roommates. He walks on. He then earns a scholarship, and he becomes starter. And he gets, obviously, as we all know, got replaced somewhere after the start of the season, and then comes back. And this guy not captain, but he was the quarterback that led the team to victories at the very end of the year, against Ohio State, when no one thought we were going to win that game other than, us fans. But the experts had us as a huge deficit. And then we go and we beat Alabama. So he had some key conversions in the Ohio State game to keep that clock running and to drive the field.
Arms and legs. With his arms.
Yeah, arms and legs. The scramble one. So most inspiring story, and look, I know we've got Bryce Underwood coming in. We got Mickey Keene coming in. Davis is obviously hurt, ACL. He's a great guy, and his story of perseverance through all of that early in his life is inspiring. So congratulations, Davis Warren.
Yeah, no, well said. And I actually, you know what? The inspiring piece is, there's no one better for sure. I was also in my mind. I was trying to go back and think of a first-year starting quarterback who, in their first year, beat Michigan State, Ohio State, and won a bowl game. I was trying to think. Not Chad Henne. Okay, I'm sort of going back. John Navarre? No, I don't think it was John Navarre. So I'm pretty sure you've got to go back 30 years to find someone who did what Davis did on the field as a quarterback, which is super cool. Which is super, super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hope he recovers and is in the mix, for the competition for next year's starter.
Yeah. I mentioned the Guest of a Guest award might have been the most fun, and maybe I was wrong because this one actually is pretty awesome too. We have the Future TV Star Award. Maybe the most, other than most entrepreneurial, maybe one of the most prestigious, because we got a lot of people who are going to have long careers in something after their sport. This one was tough in a way, but if you've watched episode 4, maybe also very obvious. So I'll start with our honorable mention, which is our guy, Jacob Oden. Jacob was a freshman this year, and if you listen to his episode, he is he is hilarious. You can tell this guy's got not only an awesome mentality for the game of football, but just seems like he is awesome to be around. So check that one out because Jacob is a blast. We spent some time kind of ragging in a fun way, dishing on his teammates. You could tell he's no stranger to competition. he is very comfortable, in pretty much anything you ask him. So we love talking to him. Super fun guy, super confident guy. So he's going to be, whatever he does, he's going to be great, including, I think, put a camera in front of him, put a mic in front of him. It's going to be gold. But it is hard because in any normal situation, Jacob takes this title. Except we have a guy on our team named Zach Marshall, who, like I said, go back, listen to episode 4, watch some of our stuff on social. Zach is not only first of all, I should say, a very just genuinely kind and amazing person. We got a chance to know Zach. He is such a good person, but also just the most fun personality you can imagine. He did some stuff with us. He did some ad work for Brugger's Bagels, and just a little bit of a story that will help shine a light on why he is such a runaway winner for the award. We bring him in, and he's doing some ad reads for the upcoming season as part of a sponsorship with Brugger's. And the whole restaurant has like paused operations and has formed like a semicircle around Zach. So like kind of an audience. And Zach's got to read, and there's some flashcards. He doesn't really use them, and he rips this thing off in one take, absolutely perfectly. Not a stutter, not an and the people behind him start clapping. Like the restaurant starts clapping. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" And we're like, "Yeah, I know, this guy's incredible." So not only because of Zach's just kindness and his warm and personality, but just when you see the work he does, you'll see he's perfectly comfortable in whatever situations you put him in. Now, that does not mean he's a softie, because we were going to have an award, and we may still next year, for most important block of the year. Zach's kind of gets the key block in our win against USC. So don't think he's this, lovey-dovey guy. He's got that side, but, Clubman will come get you if you ask for it. So Zach,
hey, he got a lot of playing time this year, special teams, and had the club on his hand for a little bit. Probably got in the way.
Now, as part of future TV star, I do want to say, well, you might ask, well, what should Zach be a future TV star on? After his 15-year NFL career, couldn't you see Zach as like the lead guy on Hawaii 5-0?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, he's from He's a California kid, right? In Southern California, and so it's in his bloodlines. It's either that or like the fifth remake of Baywatch in some fashion. Running around
He may enjoy that more. We could ask Zach.
But he's done other work. Like, he did some work for one of our sponsors, but I've seen some other stuff out there. Zach, congratulations. Kind of a natural.
And not to shout out him too much, because, we got other awards, but consummate professional. When we went to the Brugger's thing, he was prepared. He had notes.
Yeah.
He had a childhood story about Brugger. So if you want an ad,
he showed up on time, which is like, crazy for some young people these days. So,
and I'm not even young anymore. So,
I didn't want to say that. I wasn't going to shame you publicly, because I don't think that's motivating. But you brought it up, so that's true, folks. The next award is the Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk Award. Honorable mention, Ben Hall. So Ben episode, he is such a polite, mature young man, clearly raised very well. But when you see him run hard on the field, don't mistake that. Don't mistake the two behaviors. The one very polite, quiet, for one that can wreak havoc. And so honorable mention goes to running back Ben Hall, which, by the way, it was driving me nuts at the bowl game when they kept calling him Ben Hill. All the Michigan fans, were saying, like, look in the stands. It's like, they're yelling his name. It's like, put respect on the guy's name.
Now, this was not the TV broadcast. This was on the PA announcer was doing it.
Yeah, because I was in the stadium for the game, as the PA got Ben Hill. It's like, no, it's not Benny Hill, the comedian. It's Ben Hall, the running back. Anyway, so honorable mention, winner is Cam Brandt. We love talking to Cam. He was one of our early guests, and it's like this. You're talking to him, and he's quiet, he's calm, looks like this gentle giant. And then you can tell on the field that, again, he transforms into a different personality on the field. I mean, and he's a rising star. He played 300 snaps in 2024, which was almost as much as Rashawn Benny. So we know, everyone's saying, I hope Rashawn comes back and everything like that. On the across the defensive line, to play 300 snaps is pretty good. And I'm sure he's gonna get more. And he got his first fumble recovery against Bama. That was in the first quarter, and Amir Hall, I think, stripped it, and Cam picked it up, and Cam got, I think, his yards after fumble recovery. That's a new YAFR. I've come up with a new metric. He got 5 yards after he touched the ball. Now he's like over 6 foot, so if he falls down, just falls forward, he gets 2.5 or so. So, but he got us down there. Quiet giant. So again, winner of the Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk Award.
And we did some research on this one to get some external feedback. We asked some of the Ohio State players at midfield for some input on this award, and we found a nice young gentleman who was hip-tossed into the ground after trying to take a cheap shot at Cam. And the guy said, yeah, Cam's really deserving of this. I thought he was this nice guy, but then he planted me into the ground for
and that's a true story. For people who are listening, go back and watch the video of the end of the game, whatever you want to call it, skirmish, disagreement, where Ohio State forgot that they lost and they should just leave the field. They had 60 minutes to fight. And this guy made a very bad decision of taking what looked like a cheap shot at Cam. And Cam decided that he had enough of that and ended it. It was like World Wrestling Federation kind of plant in the ground. So that guy was not only 0-1 during the 60 minutes, but finished the full game 0-2.
Right.
So
as the kids say, squabble up. And actually, from one hero who was there to keep peace. But actually, let me get to the next award, because the setup will be important. Because the next award,
there's a tie here.
Exactly, there's a tie into the next award. But yeah, congrats, Cam, on the Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk Award. The next one is our Most Presidential Award. Most Presidential. This one was also kind of like the Zach Future TV star. In a way, like lots of deserving, but also if you listen to the episodes, you also know that there actually has always been kind of a clear winner for this one. And we'll get to that as we announce them. But we got to shout out our honorable mention, which is Jordan Hobbs. So the key to presidency in the United States is giving us a good 4 years, maybe 8, but a core presidency is built around a fundamentally durable, consistent 4 years of great work, consistency, stick-to-itiveness, and that's Jordan Hobbs. Jordan Hobbs is now in her 4th year of the program, entering the last year of her term. We love talking to Jordan. She's been through a lot of ups and downs. In this metaphor, our country, her team, through a transition of almost an entirely new team this year, and has been an incredible leader through and through. So check out that episode. It's actually awesome. She's hilarious. And that was a great time. Honorable mention, transition into our winner, who is Quentin Johnson. Now, Quentin actually is this winner for, I think, a lot of reasons. One, I don't mean to bring up age, elder statesman. Now, in the U.S., you have to be 35 years or older technically to be a U.S. president. Now, Quentin is not that. But Quentin has been a veteran leader on this team for a long time, and really shown in 23 and 24. He is also majoring in political science. So he's got the chops. He's got the background.
Well, and he's also from the D.C. area.
Exactly. Third box. He's from D.C. And then, talk about what's important as a president. And then we talked about he has veteran leadership. He has an understanding of our government. He gets the D.C. politics. Like, you're thinking, right, this is perfect. But it gets even better. Because as a president, you want a leader who is calm and collected, but will take the appropriate steps when needed to defend your country. And much like Cam, Quentin approached the midfield skirmish to keep peace.
Well, I'm sure Quentin was probably trying to negotiate a ceasefire.
Some terrorist came up and took a cheap shot at Quentin. And much like Cam, that person found out real quick. So we there's no player maybe in the history of college football who checks more boxes to be the next U.S. president than Quentin. So Quentin, we look forward to your eventual inauguration. I'm just doing some quick mental math, and I've got we're maybe 11 years away.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he was a 2019 class, and you asked during his episode, there was another Keyshawn Harris, but Keyshawn, he started as a walk-on, so I didn't have him on the list of recruits for 2019. I think it was Keyshawn Harris. Probably could be no, but
it is. You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, there is no truth to the rumor that Quentin gets senior discounts in Ann Arbor. Mm-hmm. And I think Ryan Day's beard would have more gray than Quentin's has, but Ryan Day clearly uses Just for Men. I think it's well known. But Quentin, seriously, it was how happy were most fans, like if not all, that he decided to give us another year. I mean, the guy was in there a lot, and that guy has shown up for big plays. We talk about it in his episode, the Ibuka pass breakup against Ohio State 2 years ago, I think it was, that was profiled on kind of Inside the Play, and that's out there on YouTube. And then last year's Rose Bowl, or when we were playing against Alabama in the playoffs, we were trailing 17-13 in the fourth quarter, and Quentin forces a fumble from when Milroe's scrambling. Quentin forces a fumble, and we recover. So Quentin's going to be missed. Great guy, going to be successful. Hope he latches onto the NFL, but if not, going to do great things.
I think he will. I think he'll do it. Just because of how much and you're right. Like, talk about a person, and Edwards kind of had this quality too, where like Donovan Edwards' career was interesting in a way because it had these kind of ups and downs in terms of the presence you felt. But like in the big moments, in the big games, it was like he was always there. And Quentin's had a similar feel. Yeah, the Ibuka pass breakup, the fumble, the Rose Bowl. By the way, in that Ohio State game, he also has Jeremiah Smith locked up in coverage in the end zone, and he gets called for pass interference even though he gets ripped down by his face mask. I want to personally say that was BS, but I guess all's well that ends well. But congratulations, Quentin. And if you are looking for a vice presidential nominee, maybe look no further than Jordan Hobbs, our top two winners. Unite the ticket. I think you guys, I could see 300. How many electoral votes are there? 300, maybe 400 something? 412? I don't know.
Quentin would know. Ask Quentin.
I don't even have to know because he does. So I think it's a clean sweep.
All right, our last category is our most valuable newcomer, and this is somebody that's new to the team. Maybe not a incoming, not a true freshman, but and we're not even going to have an honorable mention here. We're going to have the most valuable newcomer award goes to Dominic Savada. Dominic transfers in from Arkansas State. And let's be honest, how many people, unless you're a real football guru, how many people knew that name, and how well he was doing in Arkansas State? Now, you probably knew him because he was, getting awards. He transfers in, and he is, I believe he ended up being the number one field goal kicker in college football in terms of field goal percentage of like 96%. He was 21 of 22 for field goals. Most impressively, he was 7 for 7 at 50 yards or longer. 7 for 7. I mean, most people can't kick a 10. Like if you watch, College Game Day and they have those kids out there, like very few people can kick a 10-yarder, let alone this guy is kicking with accuracy. It was the best in the Big Ten. He was the best kicker in the Big Ten. The fact that he didn't win the Lou Groza Award, there should be some sort of investigation. I mean, when I looked at his stats versus the kid that won it, Dominic's percentage was 96. Winner was 90%. Dominic's long field goal, Dominic 56. Winner had 53. 50-plus yard accuracy, this guy the winner was 2 for 5. Dominic 7 for 7. Now, the only thing that this guy did more, I don't want to say better, but more, probably because his team had to, he kicked 27 field goals. and Dominic kicked 21 in terms of made field goals. And Dominic was 21 of 22. So it's not like he missed about, he was 21 of 28. He was 21 of 22. So I don't understand that voting. He was ripped off. I'm glad he came back. Most valuable newcomer, Dominic Zavada. That guy was money. He's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to talk to. Really great guy. And excited to have him back because I'm sure he could have entered the draft and done just fine. So now the kickers often don't get drafted, but Moody did. I think Dominic has another year like he did, and he's going to get drafted.
Well, we got to open this investigation up. This is Grozagate 2024. And look, Dad, if volume is more important than quality, well then my college dating life looks a lot better too. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I don't think it does.
Okay,
from what I remember, it doesn't look that good.
Okay, well, you know, we'll cover that in a future episode. I am with you. A man that almost, I wouldn't say toppled two empires, but like I can tell you how nervous I was sitting on the couch watching hit the field goal, all of them against Ohio State. And then when he kicked a couple in the rain against the Alabama game,
yeah.
Shout out Hollenbeck too, because the hold and the snap must have been tough on its own. But like, and maybe the best all around athlete on the field, Jalen Milroe, couldn't hold on to the ball, but our guy Dominic Zavada could pinpoint the ball through the uprights from like 53 yards away. It's like, okay, this is pretty awesome. So yeah, what a hero. And the only
and I don't know if I should. I'm not taking credit for success, but I have continued the fan superstition of I didn't watch any of Moody's field goals and either on TV. I look down and I continue that with Zavada, and I want Dominic to know that certainly can't hurt that I'm not watching. Again, no facts, no data to support that, but it seems to be working. So we're excited about that. Also,
every single one. And did you want to shout out our honorable mention real quick on this one?
Well, I said there wasn't an honorable mention, depending on how we define newcomer. But if you've got one, go for it.
Yeah, well, we shout out Jordan Marshall's mom. I did have Jordan Marshall as an honorable mention on, just for this award for all the reasons we've already mentioned. But
yeah.
But Dominic, yeah, you're a hero.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. That's the end. That's the last award. We'll get those posted. Excited to share this out, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of hot takes on our selections for our winners. But hey, these are our categories. It's our show, so. But
yeah, if somebody's out there listening and wants to be a sponsor and wants to influence this, feel free to contact us. But for now,
we would love the debate.
It's our money, our show.
That's right. Well, your money, our show. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's close enough. Well, so that brings us to the end of the show. This is, I mentioned at the start of the show, a little bit of the recap, the capstone of what was our first full season. And we could not be more excited with the fact that we're going to be doing this again. This was an incredible experience. Through the awards, I think you can probably tell how much fun we had. I hope our guests and our followers have enjoyed this just as much as we have. We're thankful to the guests. We're thankful for the followers. Really, it is the engagement that keeps this going. So that is paramount for us. And the engagement we saw as the season went on was incredible. So we know there's people out there that love the university just as much as we do. And so I hope this gives not only content that you enjoy and you can listen to and have fun, but you also connect with. I also, what we hope to do and hope we have done, we know that when NIL kicked off, it's like, well, how do I help with this whole thing? Like, what do I do? Like, I know it's real. I know it's important, but what can I do as a fan? What can I do as an individual? And I hope that we've provided a way, a medium for people to, just through the simple listening to a podcast or scrolling through their socials, make a small difference. So when you listen, when you engage, when you download our stuff, every bit of that helps us do more with the players and helps us be a small part of the success that Champions and the university and others have had in terms of NIL. So thank you for that, and I hope that mission resonates with you. It certainly has with us. That's it. That's our 2024 season. Really, I know we're in 25, and we are about to embark on next year, lining up new episodes, lining up new content. So one more thank you from our Leaders in Next team, and go Blue.
Go Blue.